welcome back to my channel. My name is Khadija Tadeshola, and in my channel I talk about everything related to women and midwifery. So today I'm going to be talking about first day in a new world, what you should know or what you should ask about or what you should find out basically. So first day in the world, what you should find out. So that's what this video is all about. So if this looks like what you're interested in, kindly stick around, watch to the end, and if you like it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and also subscribe to my channel, share with your friends and your colleagues. If you are my returning subscriber, thank you. Lots of love from me to you. I appreciate you for always watching my video. So basically, as a midwife or as a nurse in a new world, what should you find out? Let me use this moment to tell you that everyone is important, everyone is significant in the NHS. Everyone is basically significant. So if you basically just move to a new world, sometimes you meet with a manager, and sometimes depending on the manager it might not be possible, so you should try as much as possible to speak with the MCAs. The MCAs are very significant. I can say that most of the things I know about the world, or I know about where they put one or two things, I actually learn them from the MCAs. So when you get to a new world, try as much as possible to ask the MCAs questions. Ask them questions on where you can get things that you need that they use. For instance, now maybe you're in the labor ward now or delivery suite now, you should try as much as possible to ask the MCAs where they keep things that they use there. For instance, the cannulas, the needle and syringes, those are things you will be needing basically. Then they call it inco sheets anyway. The nightingales, where are they kept? The pad, the maternity pad, the disposable panties, disposable underwears, the test stocks, the the instruments, the CTG machine, the infusion pump, the blood pressure machine, all of those things you basically need to ask the MCAs. They are the ones that knows where everything is kept. Then how to do most of the things as well. Some things that midwife, don't really do, but in an emergency you may have to do them. So the MCAs knows how to do all of those things. Try as much as possible to ask the MCAs questions, and make sure you are polite in asking while asking them those questions. Then also, another thing is that when you're new to a ward, anything you don't know about, please ask. Ask the senior midwife, ask the midwives you're working with how they really do some things. Basically, you know how to do them. Even if you're coming from another ward in that same hospital, when you get to a new ward, please ask them how they do their things. Most of the time, for instance now, where I work, the way they make their bed in the triad is different from the way they make their bed in delivery suite. It's different from the way they make their bed in antenatal ward, and also different from how they make their bed in postnatal ward. So you basically need to ask all of those things whenever you get to a new ward, because they are really done differently, even when it is within the same trust. So you should be able to ask. And this may be because there are different managers anyway, and there are different reasons why the ladies are being admitted in each of those wards. So their beds, they actually make it differently. So you should basically ask them how they do all of those things when you get to a new ward. Then another thing is that you ask, if you are getting to a new ward, you ask how they do some things, or when to do some things. So for instance now, where I work, they do sliding scales in the delivery suite. They don't do sliding scale in the antenatal ward. And in some trusts, they do sliding scale in antenatal ward. So if for instance, if you're coming from a trust that do sliding scales in antenatal ward, and you get to another trust now, and there's reason for you to do a sliding scale, and you just go ahead doing the sliding scale, it is against that particular trust policy. So you have really done something wrong. So you should basically ask questions whenever you get to a new word, even why coming from another word in that same trust. Try as much as possible to ask how and why when they do some things, basically. For instance, in some trusts, they give taboo tallying in the word, and in some trusts they don't do it. Some trusts, okay, for instance, now in delivery suite they give taboo tallying. In the antenatal ward, they don't give tabutaline. Basically, the midwife don't give tabutaline. You have to get the doctors to do it. So you should basically try to ask the things. Another thing is that you should be familiar with the trust policies, and there are different policies applicable in different words. Basically, like the policies are basically the same thing, but some are more used in one word, uh, you know, or to the other. For instance, now oxytocin policies or oxytocin uses will be more in the delivery suite, but they might not really use it in the antenatal ward. They don't really use it in the antenatal ward. So when you get to delivery suite, you want to be more familiar about their oxytocin use policies, management of postpartum hemorrhage policies, management of eclampsia, all of the policy, you need to be used to them more in the delivery suite. But when you get to the antenatal ward, most of the most significant policies is about induction of labor. That's the most frequently used policy in the antenatal ward. So you want to really know which policies is applicable to which area. For instance, when you get to the postnatal ward now, they will use something more of trying without catheter policy, like removal of catheter, all of those things, breastfeeding policies, infant feeding policies, all of those things will be more significant in the postnatal ward. So depending on the ward that you have, try as much as possible to be familiar with what is important, what is significant to that ward, and try as much as possible to read about it. So that is all about getting to a new ward. Try as much as possible to ask questions from both the MCAs and also your senior midwife. Try as much as possible to know what they really do most in that ward, and read the policies regarding those things in the ward. Things that is new, basically try as much as possible to ask them how is it being done before you actually do them in that new ward that you have. I wish you all the best in your new wards, in your new rotations, and also don't forget to share, like, and comment on this video. And if you have any questions, please say it in the comment section. I'm going to answer. Thank you once again for all my returning subscribers, and for you all sharing my video. Thank you. I really appreciate. If you've not been sharing my video, please start today. Share my video. Subscribe to my channel. Thank you. I love you. Bye.